anxiety pretty much my entire life, or as long as I can actually remember, and I have tried a lot of things to try and get rid of it. Yoga, meditation, supplements, CBD, pretty much every natural method you could think of for helping to get rid of anxiety, I have tried it. And there are some that did help at least temporarily reduce or remove my anxiety, but honestly, so many of them just were like a temporary fix and never actually addressed the root cause. But now, after trying so many different things, I'm at such a great place where I don't wake up with that constant sense of like doom and gloom that anyone who has anxiety is probably very familiar with. I feel so much more in control of my anxiety, and I feel like it's not generally always there, but I just get the natural, maybe anxious moments that occur when stressful things happen and then it goes away, which ultimately is my goal. Now, this isn't something I usually talk about on my channel, but it is such an important part to overall wellness in addition to the other tools and strategies that we talk about. So I wanted to bring this up because there are things that really have made a big difference for reducing my overall general anxiety that could potentially be game changers for a lot of people as well. So today I'm sharing 9 things that really actually honestly helped me with my anxiety and feeling more balanced overall. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Element. More on them in a bit. I just want to start off with a quick note. Obviously, none of this is medical advice. These are tools that really help me along my anxiety journey, but everyone's journey is going to be different, so it is a good idea to seek professional help if you do find that you have persistent anxiety. Okay, the first one is that I stopped drinking. I've never really been much of a drinker. Obviously in college, I drank a lot more, as people often do in college, and this was roughly when my anxiety was at its worst. In particular, I remember there was one day waking up after New Year's Eve, go figure, and just feeling such an overall sense of anxiety that was just all consuming. It was absolutely paralyzing. I felt like everybody hated me, like I was doing everything wrong. Obviously, none of that was true, but that's just what alcohol can tend to do to me. And I know that not everyone experiences this with alcohol, but I have seen that I'm not the only one that responds in this way to alcohol. So for myself personally, ever since that one New Year's Eve in college, I really pretty much have stopped drinking entirely. I might occasionally have like a half of a glass of wine if we're at like a vineyard, but I've just found it's not worth it for myself and how I know I will feel the next day when I drink. Now, the second thing that really helped my anxiety is that I got better and longer sleep. Growing up, I never really had great sleep, especially I think because I had anxiety. It was like a self-perpetuating cycle. Because I had anxiety, it would be hard for me to fall asleep, and then because I got bad sleep, my cortisol levels, which are the stress hormone, would be higher, and I would feel even more anxious the next day, and it would continue on. And this is actually why I think alcohol might negatively affect me so much, is because alcohol does have that negative impact on sleep. There might be other specific mechanisms for alcohol as well, but I think that's a big contributing factor. So when I realized that not getting great deep quality sleep was really impacting my mental health, I started to focus on making sure I was getting that really high quality sleep. So that meant no TV or no phone before bed. That way my melatonin, the sleep hormone, could naturally go up. I made sure not to eat right before bed so that my digestion wouldn't make me get poor sleep. That's where intermittent fasting was really useful for me. I used a magnesium supplement, and I just overall helped to make sure that I was winding down in that 30 minutes before bed. Reading a book was really helpful. I spent probably like over a year perfecting my nighttime routine to make sure it's optimized so that I could get really deep, high quality sleep. That way I was recovered when I woke up in the morning. I just felt better anyway. My energy levels were higher, but I also wasn't getting that cortisol spike, which is the stress hormone, from poor sleep. Okay, the third thing I did was that I stopped being on social media so much. Now, this might be like a redundant one that you've heard over and over, and there are some positives to social media that can help to connect us with people all around the world, which I have found really useful. But I found that when I spent too much time on social media, that's when it tended to cause anxiety. Yes, there is the comparison trap, which I think can happen to a lot of people, myself included, but more so I found that I just felt more anxious when I wasted so much time, like hours at a time, just scrolling on my phone. It meant that there were hours that I didn't go outside and get in the sunlight or actually converse with other people. It made me feel less connected and therefore more anxious when I spent more time on my phone. So now I still use social media, I still love it, but I just make sure that I'm not spending so much time on it. I limit it to maybe like 20 or 30 minutes at most per day. Okay, the fourth is that I ate a lot less refined carbs and sugar. I studied abroad in Italy. I loved pasta. I loved bread. I loved guacamole and chips. I also had a sugar tooth, so I'd eat things like dates and dried fruit and dried mango. Lots of refined carbs, lots of sugar. This means that I also had really unstable blood sugar levels where I would get this spike and then crash within like 30 minutes or even a couple of hours later. And I think what people don't realize with blood sugar crashes is that you also get a spike in cortisol, which is that stress hormone, when we get a crash in blood blood sugar. Our body does this to help raise blood sugar back to a safe zone, but it also can result in that fight or flight mode for us too. And I found for myself with having that history of anxiety, that cortisol spike I would get periodically throughout the day from eating these more refined carbs and sugars just led to more of that constant state of anxiety. So I swapped those more high glycemic load foods for low to medium glycemic load foods. So I was having more stable blood sugar levels and less of those crashes. And before we move on to the next tip, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Element. Element is an amazing electrolyte company that was specifically created for whole food eating, intermittent fasting, and athletes in mind. Especially when making the switch to less refined and processed foods and more whole foods, it's really easy to not eat enough electrolytes. And I love that Element provides electrolytes without having any sugar. I've been using Element for like over 3 years now, I think. I have at least 1 packet a day, sometimes 2, depending on my activity level and how much I've been sweating. Their flavors are so good, so delicious. Grapefruit is my absolute favorite, but they also have other classics like orange or raspberry that are amazing as well. I bring Element with me everywhere I go to make sure I'm always hydrated and feeling my best. I've found that when I'm properly hydrated with Element, I don't get those energy crashes later in the day that can result from an electrolyte imbalance. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link is also in the description down below. Okay, the 5th thing that really helped is that I would actually talk to people when I'm feeling anxious. When I'm feeling anxious, it's really easy to just get caught in my own head and let things spiral out and get worse and worse and worse, even over small things. So I found that whenever I'm starting to feel anxious about something and I sense that familiar feeling start to bubble up, I talk out loud with either my husband or my parents about whatever it is that might be bothering me. Even if I have no clue what the anxiety is tied to, I'll just be like, hey, I don't know why, but I'm feeling really anxious right now. And we'll talk through it a little bit, literally just like for 5 minutes. And it's as if bringing light to the anxiety helps to completely remove it. It also helps to make whatever that small thing was that I was initially feeling anxious about not get big and out of control by just being stuck in my head. Okay, the 6th thing that really helped is that I ate more protein. Now, I talked earlier about how important stable blood sugar levels are, especially for making sure that we don't get those cortisol spikes. And around 2019 or 2020, somewhere in that range, I started eating significantly more protein. I also started to eat more animal-based protein. I grew up vegetarian, so this was a big shift for me, but I found that eating more protein really helped me to not only stabilize my blood sugar levels, but get more of those bioavailable nutrients that I think I was missing from before. And there is a growing body of research showing a connection between more animal-based proteins and less incidences of depression or anxiety. Now, this could be due to the higher amount of protein that's causing you more blood sugar stabilization, or maybe it is from getting more bioavailable nutrients that perhaps some people were missing that could be contributing to mental health. Either way, I know that when I started eating more protein from animal sources and eating fermented dairy products, I felt so much better. Now, if you are plant-based or if you are vegetarian, there are ways to get these nutrients in supplemental form, so it might be something worth looking into if you think that you might be missing out on those nutrients. Okay, the 7th thing I did is I had balanced exercise. I absolutely love fitness. I love working out. Ever since I first discovered triathlons when I was in high school, I've been just addicted. I've always just felt really good from exercise. I love a challenge. It's just part of my personality now. But unfortunately, I think I also adopted the more is more mentality. And because of that, I wasn't allowing for enough rest days. And I also wasn't having a balanced approach to exercise. So initially I was doing a lot of cardio. I wasn't doing as much strength training. And I was also overtraining, which ultimately can lead to signs of overtraining. One of them being higher cortisol levels, which could in turn lead to increased anxiety. So now I balance out my workout routine to make sure I have enough time to actually recover from my workouts while also cross training. So I'm getting all the different benefits of exercise. So I have strength training to help promote healthy muscle and metabolism, as well as healthy bones. I have cardio to make sure I'm also improving cardiovascular fitness. I have walking, which just overall helps reduce stress levels, especially if you walk outside. And then I also have strategically timed rest days. I also now know the signs of overtraining. So if I ever notice these start to pop up, I know when I need to scale back. Now, the 8th thing I did is get outside more. When I was a student, I spent so much time indoors because I was either in class or I was studying. I just really did not spend much time at all outside. But research has shown that when we spend more time outside, especially in natural environments, it actually helps to lower our stress hormone cortisol. So this is something that I actively make sure I do every day. And I notice when I don't spend time outside, I do start to feel more anxiety bubble up. So I'll spend more time outside by going for walks outdoors, or maybe I'll work in my garden or try to work in my garden because I am kind of a failed gardener. I'll hang out with my backyard chickens. On the weekend, we'll go for hikes or go to the beach. Whatever it is, I just try to spend more time outside so that I can get that natural stress reduction. Okay, and the ninth thing that I did and do to this day, and it's kind of a personal one, but it's that I reconnect with my purpose. For myself, I found that my anxiety can be higher when I feel disconnected from others or when I feel disconnected from my overall purpose. So that's where connecting with my family members or friends is very helpful, but also connecting to what I feel like is truly my purpose. And something I found helpful for me is that I keep a folder on the desktop of my computer, and it's literally screenshots of every positive comment or email or something that I get from the community where it's just people's lives that have been changed. Like even just saying that sentence, I get goosebumps because I'll get emails from people all around the world talking about how from watching my videos or using my programs or following my recipes, they've been able to not only achieve their weight loss goals, but also have major improvements in their blood markers or get off certain medications or just overall have more energy and feel so much more confident and happy. And that like just fills my soul. It makes me feel so happy and it just really reconnects me to my why. And when you feel grateful and gratitude, it's pretty much impossible to actually feel anxious as well. So to everybody who actually emails me or messages me your stories, I read them all. I love them. Thank you so much. It really does help to make my day. But in your own life, finding whatever way you can be grateful each day honestly does make such a big difference. No matter how big or how small, gratitude goes a long way. Which if you're new here, this is the first video of mine that you're watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you guys want to join this nutrition nerd family, you can subscribe right here. But to all my OG AM peeps, I love you guys. And thank you for allowing me to be part of your wellness journey too. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next video.